Donald Trump upset his most loyal base today, American ranchers, after stating that the United States will now be purchasing beef from Argentina. Take a listen to this.
Question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying. What do you mean?
Why does the United States have to worry about the livelihood of citizens of Argentina when we have American ranchers here that are dying? When we have farmers here in the United States that don't have enough money, that don't have food on their plate? Why would we import beef and hurt American ranchers by selling beef at such a low price that they can't compete? It doesn't sound so America first. If anything, it sounds very Argentina first. North Dakota livestock leaders were disappointed after Trump suggested the United States buying beef from Argentina, and this caused a huge seismic wave of disappointment. We have another post here that says live cattle prices in the United States collapse due to Trump's comments about Argentina beef. He did it again. So, what's going on? Because it's not just the United States purchasing beef from Argentina. The United States is working on doubling the aid to Argentina to $40 billion and tapping into private funding sources. Just last week, the United States purchased 20 billion euro, $20 billion worth of pesos from Argentina. So, why is this all going on, and what sort of relationship does President Trump have with the president of Argentina? Well, the Trump administration is looking to provide an additional $20 billion in financing to Argentina through a mix of financing from sovereign funds and the private sector. That comes on top of the $20 billion credit swap line that I just mentioned. The United States Treasury Secretary pledged to Argentine President Javier Milei and his government this month to bolster the South American nation's collapsing currency. Here's the thing that's really important to understand is that Argentina is going to be holding elections this month, and the state of a country's economy at the time of elections drastically impacts the elections themselves. We are working on a $20 billion facility that would complement our swap line with private banks and sovereign funds that I believe would be more focused on the debt market. The Treasury Secretary is saying all of this while here in the United States, we have prices soaring. Here in the United States, people are struggling to make a living. Here in the United States, people are struggling to put food on their plate. But apparently, Argentina now matters more than to the current administration. Farm Action tweeted, President Trump's plan to buy beef from Argentina is a betrayal to the American rancher. Washington bureaucrats are on the brink of delivering a crushing betrayal to our farmers and the America First agenda. America's soybean market just crashed after China stopped buying our soybeans. Now our cattle ranchers are on the brink of the same fate. Illinois cattle rancher and farm action senior director of programs Christian Lovell warned that a new plan to buy Argentinian beef would amount to a quote betrayal of loyal America First ranchers and would fail to solve any real problems. Buying Argentine beef. This is coming from Beef Initiative, beefmaps.com. Buying Argentina beef to, quote, lower prices is a band-aid that buries the American rancher. Family farmers are finally clawing back to break even after years of losses. Don't let the White House hand corporate packers another win. Support beef in the United States. And again, Trump will buy Argentine beef. The reporter asks him what he'd say to U.S. ranchers. And how does he respond? Well, Argentina is fighting for its life. Seems like a pretty big slap in the face towards American ranchers. Meanwhile, 77 American cattle producers a day are going out of business. That's astonishing numbers here. And none of this is about beef. And this is what's really interesting to note. And I just want to stop here before a minute before I get into it, that there is something that we haven't touched on which impacts all of this. And it does actually have to do with Israel. Argentina's president Javier Milei is a staunch Zionist. He's actually converting to Judaism, and what's interesting to note is that his grandmother is actually related to Netanyahu's family. So we have a very staunch pro-Israel Argentina government, something that, of course, Israel doesn't want to lose. At the United Nations, whenever you see the United States voting in support of Israel, Argentina is always there backing Israel. So it seems to be one of the very few countries in South America that has this unwavering support to Israel, like the United States has. And somebody mentioned this very succinctly here. None of this is about beef. It's because Milei loves Israel as much as Trump does. So Argentina needs to be supported, even though Malay's stupid economic policies, which MAGA people were told to love, are predictably killing Argentina. But Argentina is Israel's ally. That's very true. The Argentinian president has a very close and interesting relationship, to say the least, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, which has led the Israel lobby here in the United States to push politicians and to push the Trump administration to become very, very close to Argentina. Again, Javier Milei actually posted this on his Instagram from President Trump, stating, "Javier, you are a great president. I am your friend, Donald J. Trump." And Argentinian TV is also talking about this and saying, why is Trump doing this? What's in it for Trump? And why does the United States now have such a keen eye for Argentina? Well, Trump said that he would not waste our time helping Argentina if Milei loses his elections. Actually, President Donald Trump said has acknowledged that a $20 billion U.S. lifeline to help calm Argentina's currency crisis is an attempt to sway legislative elections this month in the South American nation. He's acknowledged that himself. Welcoming Argentina's libertarian leader Javier Milei to the White House, Trump warned that the United States would, quote, not waste our time with helping Argentina if Milei's party did not prevail. Milei praised Trump for his peacemaking efforts and said that the United States president's policies would lead to prosperity. Argentina's financial turmoil comes ahead of a nation of national midterm elections on the 26th of this month, seen as a test of voters' desire to continue backing Milei's cost-cutting free market reform agenda. As Trump sat across the table from Argentina's counterpart on Tuesday, he said the not so quiet part out loud. The election is coming up very soon, and it's a very big election. If there is victory for Milei, it's very important. Your poll numbers, I hear, are pretty good. I think they will be better after this. Ultimately, this all has to do with the upcoming elections for Argentina and making sure that we have a Zionist government still in control of Argentina, because what's good for Israel, whether or not it's good for America, will ultimately be law and will ultimately dictate our U.S. foreign policy. Donald Trump isn't just buying beef from Argentina to stabilize prices. He's buying beef because of his mega wealthy friends and donors are heavily invested in Argentina. Mega wealthy Zionist friends. Let's make sure we add that in there. And this is how he repays them, by selling out U.S. farmers. Tariffs to protect American workers, unless it's ranchers. Trump wants to import Argentine beef to, quote, lower prices, throwing U.S. cattle ranchers under the bus. American ranchers can't compete with cheap imports. This isn't America first. This is Argentina first and bullcrap. Big tariffs for everyone except my new Argentine steak, Trump says here in a graphic with American farmers looking shocked and stunned as Trump sits on gold coins. This is the state of the world that we live in. The United States will follow U.S. foreign policy that benefits Israel, regardless of whether it benefits the United States. This does go back to Israel, because I can assure you that if Argentina's president was not a pro Israel Zionist, then Trump's relationship with Argentina would be vastly, vastly different. Argentina is one of the very few South American countries that staunchly supports Israel, and the current Trump administration wants to keep it this way. Every leader everywhere in the world has recognized that supporting Israel comes with a lot of financial benefits. The Venezuelan opposition leader noticed that as well, which is why she's become very close to Netanyahu, and she's calling for the United States to take military action against Venezuela's current government, Nicolas Maduro. And ultimately, she's also realized that her being very close to the Zionist project of Israel would benefit her chances of actually getting a seat as the presidency of Venezuela. So this is kind of the state of the world that we're in. If you support Israel, then it's good. And the United States will back you, and the States will make sure to protect you because ultimately the United States is bought out and owned by Zionists. If you found this video interesting and useful, make sure to click the subscribe button below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.